Welcome back to the Bentonville Beacon podcast, where we're sharing stories and advice from the leaders sparking the rise of Bentonville, one of the fastest growing and most dynamic cities in the United States, nestled in the Ozark Mountains of Northwest Arkansas in the heartland of America. Hey, I'm your host, James Bell, and I am thrilled to have in the studio today with me, Harry Hill. Harry is the founder of Minority Mountain Bikers, and which, of course, at the time of this recording is starting its third annual Minority Mountain Bikers Bentonville Bike Week.
Yep.
Harry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, let's get this ride going. What should the Bentonville Beacon podcast audience know about you?
Oh, about me?
Yeah.
Let's see. I am a Washington, D.C. native, born in D.C., eventually moved out into Maryland, went into the Air Force, 10 years in the Air Force, got out and worked for the Department of Commerce. Now I work for the FDIC. So I've been pretty much some sort of federal service all my adult life. Outside of work, I have a son and a wife, and I mountain bike.
Awesome. Well, that's definitely something we're going to be talking about. Just out of curiosity, how old is your son?
Oh, my son's 30. He just turned 31. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you started when you were like
two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Now I will be 53 in a couple months.
Well, impressive.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for your service to our nation, both in the military and your, I'll call it civilian service.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about mountain biking. How did you find your passion for mountain biking?
You know, I really, I mean, in a way, I guess it kind of started like as a kid, like you're riding BMX bikes around, and even in growing up in the city, you know, you're riding around, jumping off curbs and building little ramps with pieces of wood and bricks, find a park to ride into. But then as an adult, kind of went away. I got my second base in the Air Force was Northern California. This was like mid-90s. And I had my first, at the time, mountain bike, which was no suspension. It was basically like if you looked at a hybrid bike right now, that's what it was. So got introduced to it out there. At the same time, I kind of felt like, well, every time I'm out here on the trails, I always wonder, like, is there a cougar or mountain lion running up behind me? So that didn't last very long. So I kind of went away from it for a while. Then I got out of the military and was back in Maryland. And I bought a townhouse that was like our neighborhood was surrounded by a park. And I could just go ride. And so broke the bike back out, started riding. So this was like, you're talking 2002 or so. Kind of off and on, just kind of trail riding for the most part because the bike that I had, I would say it wasn't until about 2012. Yeah. Or no, actually it wasn't until 2014 after like riding occasionally and coming across people on trails. And I'm like, how are you getting over these rocks and roots and stuff? And they're like, well, you need to get a better bike. So I finally broke down and bought my first real full suspension mountain bike in 2012, the end of 2012. And that kind of just pushed me into it, doing a little more trail riding and a few years of that. And then finally ran into found a group that was doing rides. And I was like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do with a mountain bike. Okay. So there was a little off and on between 12 and like 16, but then from 2016 until now, I've been pretty steadily riding.
Cool. So full suspension and groups changed your life.
Changed my life.
That is awesome. Well, full suspension is just heavenly for us folks who
Yeah.
have a few more
A
aches
little more
and pains.
pounds. And 4 more pounds.
And more
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, I've
but-
had 3 knee surgeries. My feet are some issues. Lower back has some issues. So, yeah, it does help.
Well, some of that you can probably blame on the military,
Oh, yeah.
although they probably told you it's not service connected.
They
right?
did. They tried, but it is now.
Excellent. Well, what is Minority Mountain Bikers?
Well, what is it? It's I guess you could say it's a group. It kind of started with just the Facebook group, doing local rides. Like, hey, we're gonna go ride here. Come join us. If you meet, if the times we would meet somebody on the trail, say, hey, want to ride, because the sport itself is it's dominated by white guys.
Yeah.
And so, and most people are welcoming, but at the same time, you tend to like not feel like you can be yourself all the time when you're the only one. Cause it feels like, oh, well, I'm representing all Black people. Like, may not be a fair thing, but, that can be the feeling you have. So, having some times when you're riding with more folks that have experienced life the same way you've experienced. So that's kind of where it started, doing kind of local rides, and then getting more and more, like talking to folks that were in different parts of the country. And then it really jumped off when I said, all right, well, hey, let's go to Bentonville.
Excellent. Well, you just loaded up my next
there you
question
go.
then for me. You're not from Bentonville.
I
don't
not.
live here.
I do not.
Why did you choose Bentonville for your first Minority Mountain Bikers Week?
Yeah, I would say I'd say a couple years, like from 2000, because the first one obviously was 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We came in June of 2021, but I started hearing more and more about Bentonville. I would say maybe as early as 2018, 19. I would talk to people out on the trails or at a bike park and ask them, where they like riding, if they've traveled, and Bentonville kept coming up. And I said, well, started checking it out. I was like, man, it does seem pretty cool. You see these, you can ride from town and go right to the trails. This is awesome. So I started talking to a few people, like, did you want to go? And they're like, well, if you plan it. It's like, okay. So that turned it into, talking to other people and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And man, the first year was even more successful than I thought. I mean, we had 31 people show up.
Wow.
From different parts of the country, and had a great time. So they were like, you got to do it again. So we did it again, and now we're doing it again.
That is awesome. So 31 people the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's come forward now to year 3. So I've got 2 questions for you. The first one, let's start with, how many people do you have this year?
This year there's 57.
Excellent.
57 people, and 20 of them are women. So the first year there was 31, and 1 was a woman. Last year there were, I think, it could be a little off on this, but there was somewhere around 52 people and somewhere between 12 and 14 women. So this year we've got basically like a third of the group are lady riders. So that's fantastic.
Oh, cool.
I'm just glad that they're having a good time. They're telling their friends, and it's,
That is so cool. I had not thought about that angle. Have y'all connected up with Women of Oz yet to see?
So Women
how
of
they can be
Oz
supported?
is going to do, over the course of the 4 days, I think they have at least 2 guided rides.
Cool.
But excuse me. B and Kim of Bike POC.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to lead a lot of group rides. Rachel Oliver, she's going to lead some group rides as well. So I think they're, obviously you want people to feel comfortable, and sometimes you feel more comfortable with the same, like riding with people of the same sex. So, but of course there's always the option like, hey, if you want to ride these are the rides we're going to do, like levels and difficulty. And so feel free they can pick and choose.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's those are all great people that you mentioned there. B. Apple's actually on our board for the Greater Bentonville Area Chamber of Commerce, so we appreciate her time and service, and she does so much here in the. The
she does a lot. Yeah, she's very, very connected and very. I mean, she's a positive force.
Yes, she is. Well, something's different about year 3. I noticed that you have more than one location this year. Will you talk about that? Where else are you holding Minority Mountain Bikers Week?
Oh, well, there will be some rides. Actually, the previous 2 years, there were like parts of days where a small group of riders had broken off and went out to like Lake Leatherwood.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then, through all the different communications and people I've met, like people keep saying, "Oh, you got to come down to Fayetteville. You got to ride. At least come down to Centennial Park." So we do have like the option.
Cool.
On 2 days, 2 of the 4 days, there's going to be a ride leader that will go out to Lake Leatherwood, and then another day there'll be a ride down in Centennial Park. But for the majority of it's a Bentonville centric event. That's
cool. I mean, I love this that there's 150 or so miles of trails in Bentonville, and Bentonville and Bella Vista together. There's quite a bit more. And then across this 2-county region, there's about 500 miles of trails.
Oh yeah, there's you could come down here for weeks and not ride. You could,
it's a lot of fun.
Not ride everything,
Yeah. So you talked about Women of Oz is doing a couple of guided rides or some other rides. What does the week look like generally? Can you talk more about, what the experience is that the visitors that you're bringing to Bentonville are going to have?
Oh, yeah. So like you said, it actually, as we're recording this, it starts tonight, which is the 10th. So tonight, given that there are people from around the country, I think I counted up 16 different states, including Washington, D.C. So there's 16 different. So you have people coming from around the country. There is a good portion of people that have been here. This will be their 3rd year. Like they've been here for all of them, but then there's new people. So I like to start the event off with a meet and greet. So you can meet the other participants. You can meet the coaches. You can meet the sponsors, just everybody that help, the people that have helped organize. And it kind of sets the tone. I feel like this isn't just, this is just a riding thing. Like, come out and ride your bike and then you're on your own. Like, so we started off with the meet and greet, and then every night we'll have something. So that's Wednesday, that's tonight. Thursday, we go right into it. There'll be skills clinics, there'll be guided rides, Thursday and Friday. The skills clinic is by your local YouTube celebrity and excellent coach, Rich Drew, at the Ride Series.
Shameless plug. He's been on the show. Check out that episode after this one.
After this one.
It's a great episode.
Yeah, Rich is great. Rich, great personality, great coach, great rider. And to be honest, I like to take a little bit of a step back. So when I was planning that first year and trying to figure out what we were going to do, like I'd never been here. So the easiest way to find out stuff is look at videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I came across Rich's videos. I'm like, damn, these things are great. But watching one of his videos, he mentioned diversity. And, but he was talking about I think the level of riders.
Yeah.
And I just made a comment on the thing. It's like, hey, well, diversity, that kind of means a different thing for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And of course, some people came back at me, his other followers. I was like, no. I was like, I love Rich's videos. I'm just saying he has a platform, tens of thousands of people. That if we're going to talk about diversity, let's talk about diversity. There's not a lot of white people. There's not a lot of brown and black people in those videos.
Yeah.
And Rich came back in and the comments, it was like, no, Harry's correct. Basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, yeah.
And so we started up a side conversation, And he was like, oh, well, hey, if you ever come in here, just let me know. Blah, you know, I can help, you know, clinics or guided rides. I was like, well, in fact, we are. And he checked his calendar. He's like, done deal. Like, we'll do clinics, we'll do guided rides. So he's done all that, just coming out the third year for out of his own pocket.
Man, what a great guy.
So yeah, it's been good. I forgot where we started with the question.
No, I think you did well. We were talking about the experience.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Folks are going to have here. I mean, they're getting a world-class experience.
Right. So you have the skills clinics Thursday and Friday, but at the same time, since a lot of the people have been here before, and the skills clinic could not, any instructor could not provide good instruction for 20, 30, 40, 50 people. So while the clinics are going on, we'll have guided rides Thursday and Friday. There'll be lunch. And then Thursday night, we're probably going to do a skate night down in Fayetteville. Sorry, Bentonville. But
oh, totally. Look, we're one big happy region.
One big happy NWA, which is a whole nother funny thing. But Friday night, we're doing, and this is actually open to the public. There's going to be like a pint night discussion at Bike Rack Brewery.
Nice.
Then Saturday and Sunday are basically kind of structured with guided rides. There's cultural events. There's like a tour of the Crystal Bridges. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot. Friday, there's also they can hold 15 people. So first 15 people of the participants that sign up are going to do a bike build at Pedal It Forward.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And Allied's going to give a tour as well. So like I said, wanted to be more than just bike riding. I wanted it to be like an overall experience and people to come in and have a good time and meet each other. And so that's
cool.
Yeah. And then we'll end Sunday, maybe back out at Bentonville Brewery. We did that last year and it was a great time.
Wonderful place.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned Allied as well. Had Drew Medlock on the show early on sometime last year. Thankful he was able to come on, but what another great organization. Considering some of the challenges that you've mentioned that minority mountain bikers face and discussions of diversity, how, and of course you talked about how Rich is helping, but how has Bentonville overall sort of helped with that mission? There's
been the organization, Visit Bentonville has been supportive, both just in terms of providing logistical support, and Noah at Visit Bentonville has been fantastic, and financial support. This year, in addition to Visit Bentonville, Ozark Outdoor Foundation,
wonderful,
is also supporting. Runway Group has been supportive as financially supporting. Great. And one of your local companies, Custom Electronics. So the support is there. Financially support, which obviously is needed to help, because like I said, we try to do more than just the rides.
Yeah.
And just the guided rides, just the clinics, to have the evening gatherings, and we have shirts for everybody. So not only do you have 50, like this time 55, 60, almost 60 brown and black people riding bikes, they'll all be in the same color shirt. But so
that's awesome.
We stand out.
You think?
Yeah. We turn some heads. We stop people in their tracks as they're walking through Kohler and Slaughter Pen. We've even had people like, "Are you guys all the same family?" Like, there's 30 of us. What family do you think has 30 people come out ride bikes all the time?
Oh, that is great. Well, I love what you're doing, and that you got MMB off the ground, really starting here with the first, I guess meetup, big meetup nationally here in Bentonville, and that you keep bringing it back. Will you talk about what are some of your favorite things that have happened here with this event over the last couple of years?
Some of the favorite things? Wow.
Pick one.
It's funny, like I there's so much work beforehand, and my wife will tell you there's times when I'm like, I'm not doing this again. But and during the event, like I love seeing all the smiles and people having a good time. But one of my favorite things is something that's been after the event, is when I see somebody from one part of the country go and ride with someone else, go to another part of the country, and then they end up, they meet up with somebody that they met here, and they go ride and have a good time and hang out. It's like a result of what we do. It's kind of like one of where I feel like, oh man, that's fantastic.
Wow, that is cool. I love that. I got kind of some goosebumps. And, I tell people that Bentonville is a place where you have global connections, and I love hearing that people are getting to meet up here and then go meet up in other parts of the country. You mentioned Visit Bentonville, Allied, the Ride Series, and Rich Drew. Anybody else, and a number of companies that were helpful to you? Anybody else in the ecosystem you want to mention?
There's a Discover Bella Vista.
Yeah.
They actually, I know that's your neighboring system.
Oh no, they're part of our ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were helpful in helping. They were helpful in getting lodging for a couple lodging to help. That because you figure between the transportation for most of us that have to fly, some people drove, but transportation and lodging, those are the two biggest costs.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of barriers to being able to do something like this. And so if you can take away that barrier, or at least reduce that barrier for some, like it enables them to participate.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thank you, Discover Bella Vista. But yeah, they're very much part of that. I mean, they're almost an extension of Bentonville in many ways. We're tied to the hip for sure.
Okay.
Okay, my next question for you is, this is sort of the hallmark or trademark question of this show. So anybody who's listened knows what's coming. I'd love it if you could tell me a story, and that would be a hashtag because Bentonville story. And that's a story or a moment that happened where you look back at it and go, you know what, that could only happen in Bentonville, or maybe describes the essence of this So,
yeah, I have a story.
Excellent.
We've
heard some good ones.
It was from the first full day last year. So every year has been Wednesday to Sunday, with Wednesday being the meet and greet. Thursday is the first day of clinics and riding. So last year, let me back up a little bit. Sorry, bear with me here. The first year we came the first weekend of June. It was incredibly hot and humid. It was like it's like June just started. Why is it so hot and humid?
We get an early taste.
Right. So we're
August.
like, we are not doing that again. So let's back this up. So apparently we backed it up just a little bit too much, and we came the very end of March into the beginning of April last year. So Wednesday night, I'm looking at the weather forecast, and they're like, oh, there's a slight chance of rain on Thursday. We're like, oh, it's a little chilly and it might rain, whatever. All right, everybody's prepared. And so we get out there, we're all getting ready, and we're going to do this group ride over to the clinic spot in Slaughter Pen. It's like, it's just a little cold, but okay. So people that are going to take the clinic, they start the clinic. Those of us that are going to do some riding, we go ride. I don't know, maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes into the ride, you're like, oh, there's a little bit of rain. Then the next thing you know, you hear like, what was that on my helmet? It's like, oh, it's sleeting. They didn't say anything about that. All right, whatever. And it's a little cold. Now you're starting to get wet and it's cold. You're like, oh, this is a little cold. The next thing is like, wait a minute. Is that snow? It's snowing. I know the weatherman didn't say anything about that. So within a 3-hour span, we went from in the parking lot. It was chilly, but it was kind of partly cloudy. To it was full on cold and snowing, and I was like, okay, it's like the day before April. What is going on? and so by this time we're like, all right, we gotta. This is not like the clinic. The field was getting all muddy. It was cold. It was just like people were like, all right, we're gonna call it quits. Let's just go get lunch. So we were gonna have lunch delivered there, and so we found out. Oh, Red Barn said, hey, you come over here.
Cool. We're
open. Go ahead. So we go over to Red Barn and have lunch delivered over there. And during that time, it clears up. Now it's still a little chilly, but it's no longer snowing or raining or sleeting. And we're like, oh, well, Leopard's Loop is right there. It's paved.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't. So there's no mud situation. Let's ride there. So
I've been upside down on Leopard's Loop.
Oh yeah. So there you go.
Wrong side up.
I don't know if that could I'm sure it could happen at other places in the country, but to go from like partly cloudy to a little rain to sleet to snow to partly cloudy within a matter of 5 hours. Yeah.
Sometimes March around here, winter can't.
Yeah.
Winter, it's like watching a heavyweight fight between winter and spring.
Mm-hmm.
I tell folks there's probably 330 days a year here that you can ride, or 320 or whatever the number is. Yeah. But sometimes in March, you might get all the weather at once.
Yeah.
Outside of taking advantage of the more than 500 miles of trails here in Northwest Arkansas, what are some of the other places that you've enjoyed in Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas?
Oh, let's see. I went to Ozark Bagel again yesterday.
Fantastic.
Those freaking cinnamon buns are like, they're so good. The bagels are great. Sandwiches are good. But we've had great times. I'd say like there's a few places that the first year we started out at the Hub, had a great time there. And even Peddlers, Meteor, we had a fantastic time there last year. We've been to Bike Rack Brewery now every year. It will be, like I said, we'll be there again on Friday night.
So what time is it on Friday?
Friday is, I think we're starting at 6.
Cool. I might
come on
in
through.
If I can get my wife to come on by with me.
So the topic there's going to be a discussion is buying your first mountain bike.
Oh, wow.
So obviously for a lot of us, there are some people in the group that's a topic for them. But like I said, this is open to everybody. So yeah, it can be an intimidating thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. There's so much to like. It's intimidating sometimes to go in a bike shop for me. I'm like, because they could take advantage if you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I jumped right in and bought a Santa Cruz Tall Boy.
There you
go. And I love it.
Yeah.
When I get out and ride, I just need to get out and ride more often. There's really no excuse.
Yeah. I'm a YT fan. I'm a YT guy for the last few years. But I do have Specialized. So nice. I would say there's 2 other shops, Gearhead and Bojo, have been excellent. Fat Tire, we worked with them the first year. They were excellent as well. So I don't want to say that they're not. Great folks there. Mojo, Gearhead, all great people. And even tonight where the meet and greet is going to be at the Specialized Experience Center.
Oh, cool. I was going to ask you if you'd checked that out yet.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love that that's here. I mean, there's only 2 other ones.
Yeah, there's only 2 there's only 3 total. Cruz. Yeah.
You've mentioned a couple of places, restaurants and stuff, but for somebody from out of town, I have to ask, what is your go-to, whether it's a coffee shop or restaurant or that thing that every time you come here, you've got to do it?
I would say like the first year, I was so excited to get here. All we did was ride. Like, like all day we rode. We were in the skills clinic. We had lunch and we rode, and outside of like the evening things that we already had planned, I never saw anything else. So last year I finally got to go see Crystal Bridges, and it's so peaceful down there. Yeah. Like, even if you're not an art person, like just going down there and just kind of relaxing and chill, like walk around or sit. So it's really great down there. I would say like going back to 8th Street Market, Hill Folk is there. B's Place is great. Yayo's and Bike Rack. Like going to 8th Street Market is probably go-to spot.
That's a good.
Except I don't understand what the heck is going on in this area with closing on Mondays and closing on Sunday. Like, if it's a Sunday or Monday, whoever's coming out here, if it's a Sunday or a Monday, make sure you check to see if the place is even going to be open.
Yeah, you have to know which one is open.
Ridiculous.
It's like they trade.
Yeah,
it's pretty odd. I was just over. My in-laws live close to Crystal Bridges, and was just over there last night dropping them off at their place.
We went to the night show the other night. It was pretty good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Very
cool. Yeah. Well, we stopped. My son, every time we drive by the Buckyball at night, he's like, the Buckyball, let's stop.
Yeah.
And so this time we stopped and we just sat there by the Buckyball last night.
Sit in those gravity the chairs there. Yeah.
Until it started sprinkling, then we thought maybe it's time to go. If an audience member wants to know more about you or find out more about minority mountain bikers, minority mountain bikers, I'll get it straight here in a second. All good. We've only been talking about the whole show. How do they do that?
Well, you're not going to find out more about me, because there's one thing, like, I guess, yes, I did start the group, and I've been doing a lot of the planning, but I still I don't feel like it's not my group. It's all of our group.
Sure.
So you're not going to find out more about me. I don't even like doing these things, to be quite honest. But
well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. I know representation matters, right? And so you got to get out there and let folks know, hey, there are brown and black people riding bikes. We spend a lot of money on our bikes just like everybody else in the gear. So it's but to find out about the group, everything, the Facebook, IG, YouTube, the website, it's all Minority Mountain Bikers.
Pretty easy
with
to find.
An S on the end. Bikers.
Excellent. Easy to find.
Easy to find.
Okay. These next questions, as we start winding it down, are going to be sort of advice and random questions. You're going to love these. The first one is, we'll start with a random. Do you prefer ice cream or popsicles, and why? Told you it's pretty random.
Yeah, for me, that's kind of easy.
Good.
That's ice cream, because
excellent
chocolate, and chocolate. I don't chocolate popsicle. Ugh.
Yeah,
I want chocolate. I like chocolate in my ice cream. That little ice cream truck thing you guys have in the town square. You get a big old waffle cone of ice cream for $1.50. I'm they must be losing money on this, right?
Spark Cafe, man.
Yeah.
It'll go back into, the building when they're done.
Oh, is that what happens?
Redoing that building that they're redoing on the corner is Sam Walton's original sort of Five and Dime, and then the Spark Cafe was in the corner. But they're redoing it right now.
Yeah.
In the meantime, folks can go over to the brand new Ledger building to go to the temporary Walmart museum.
I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah, it's right behind
Specialized. I didn't know they had moved it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got a little different stuff.
And I looked right over there and saw the sign. I think probably walked right past it.
There is a hologram in there of Sam Walton, as well as some drones hanging from the ceiling and so on. It's pretty cool. As somebody who doesn't live here yet, and I always like to say yet. So as somebody who doesn't live in Bentonville yet, what are your favorite trails that you've ridden here so far?
Oh,
one or two.
One of my favorite is, I love Thunderdome at Kohler, just very because nice. It's fun. And so it's got the berms and little jumps, and you get to race your friends. Yeah. It's a slalom course. So you start out and you zigzag down, and it's the best. So it will bring out the competitive spirit, which might cause you to crash. but that's okay. We're on two wheels. You're going to crash eventually. But no, Thunderdome is fun. So much fun. Is there another one that like, out the other side of Kohler? I can't, Firebomb or something like that. Fireline.
Yeah.
I love that one. Because I'm not good enough to do like cease and desist or drop the hammer or whatever. I mean, I probably could, but the risk reward, like, that could be serious injury crash over there.
I have an almost 3-year-old at home. I can't go off drop the hammer. Not happening. Plus, I'm not ready for that. As you look at Bentonville through sort of your lens, what do you see? What do you see as the advantages of living, working, and playing here? Or put another way, how could Bentonville help you live your best life?
Oh, I mean, we were talking about, like, there's a few of us that came down early. We were going to we did a gravel ride and just to get some riding in and have, it's just the ability to just leave out of your house and like as a, even if you're not a mountain biker, like you can get to parks and take walks or whatever, like just right here. I don't think a lot of people realize, like back home, every time you go to a mountain bike ride, it's usually a 30-minute to an hour drive to the trail. So this is just answering the question from a mountain biker point of view.
That's great.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to travel a little bit, and whether Colorado and a few states there in the Northeast, from Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, even into New York, going out to Colorado and Texas. I haven't been anywhere that's like this, like where everything's so like, it's right here. Like, it's right here within a matter of, like, even if you don't want to ride right in like Kohler or Slaughter Pen, if you want to go to Bella Vista and ride, like all this stuff is so close. There's just like no reason not to be outside.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. All by design.
All by design.
If you were a professional wrestler, what would your stage name be, and what would your signature move be?
Well, one, I don't watch professional wrestling, so I don't have a signature move.
Not since I was like 10.
I don't know. Man, that's a tough one. I don't know.
We'll skip it then.
We'll skip that one because I might say something inappropriate.
Okay, next. Okay, then we'll do a different random question.
Okay, random question.
If you could witness any historical event firsthand, which one would you choose?
Oh, yeah. I guess I would be at the march where Martin Luther King gave his speech.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I would be at the monument on the National Mall. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I was, living in the DC area, when President Obama got first elected, his inauguration. And of course, it's January, it's cold as crap. And it was forecasted to be very cold. And it's starting, you got to get down there so early. And I told my son and my nephew, I was like, we're going. And I said, you've seen those pictures of Martin Luther King giving that I Have a Dream speech at the National Mall, and those people that were there can say, I was there in that picture. There will be pictures of the first Black president being inaugurated and the crowd out there, and you will be able to say, I was there in that crowd. So
that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I've got 2 questions left.
Okay.
First one
about time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're right. What's the most interesting advice you've ever received? And this would be let me try this a different way. What's the most interesting advice you've ever received that you think everybody should hear?
I'll revert back to, again, a mountain biking advice. I think a lot of people, you start off and like your friends and other riders, if they're not have enough training and knowledge in the sport, you will have your people will tell you, oh, just get back on this. You're like, lean back. You're like, no, don't do that. Stay centered over the bike. Stay centered. So, yes, you would get back at times, like maybe something steep, but body position on the bike is fundamental. It will keep you on your two wheels that you're supposed to be.
That's the best way, rubber side down, right?
Exactly.
Excellent.
Skin side down hurts.
Yeah, yes, it does. Okay, final question.
Okay.
What's something I should have asked you that I did not ask?
Oh, my goodness.
Or some final thing you want to be able to say? Because we'll be out of questions after this one.
So having doing this now the third year and meeting all these people like B and Kim, and Justice is down here now.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Jackson's, I think, IG? And I had a couple guys that come with me, Corey, and Chris Randall, just Rachel from here as well. We're coming up with the concept now, but we are looking to do a bigger event next year for the Juneteenth holiday, over the Juneteenth holiday. Excuse me. So we're working on it. Look out for details coming soon, hopefully. Coming soon, I'm not even going to say hopefully. So Juneteenth weekend, Bentonville 2024 we're looking to have even a larger, different and have all phases like mountain bike, gravel, and road, like have something for everybody, or people want to do both or all three. And again, having some cultural things and some just some social gatherings. Just another fun, basically 4.5 days of come out and enjoy Northwest Arkansas and meet like-minded folks from around the country.
Yeah, I love hearing that. Incidentally, and I don't think I've told you the drop date for this episode yet. Mm-hmm. If you guessed what my cryptic notes were, looking at my prep document I sent you, maybe you would have seen it. But we are going to drop this episode on Juneteenth this year.
Okay, because I'm black. No,
I thought it would be appropriate. Yes. Minority Mountain Bikers Week should
Might as well.
Drop it there. So it's really neat. I love it.
Oh, you turned it red. Look at it. Got him. I got
exactly.
him.
Now I'm red instead of white. That's the best. Thank you, Eric. Man, thanks for spending time with me.
Thank you.
Bentonville Beacon audience today.
Yeah. That was great.
It warms my heart that you chose Bentonville to sort of kick off your annual event. And it also warms my heart that you chose us because it helps us really represent my favorite neon sign in town. And there's several around. It's the one on the side of the momentary that says, "You belong here."
Yeah.
And I think that is, sort of fundamentally, that's the type of community that we're building here, is one where absolutely everybody belongs and can bring their businesses and can bring their families and their friends and be proud to be here.
No, I would say the first year and even the second year, there were folks that were like, "You're going to go ride where? Is it safe?" So we've felt very welcome here. And it's been fantastic. Like I said, I had my wife come down. People have brought their spouses. There's some of the riders are couples. So there's even a mother-daughter. It's been a welcoming place, and there's a lot of things to do here, even if you're not a mountain biker.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks to our Bentonville Beacon audience. If you like what you heard today, please share the show with your friends and colleagues. That'll help us as we continue to build and grow this show. Without you, this show would not be possible. So keep coming back to the Bentonville Beacon podcast to learn about Bentonville and its leaders and about this place, Bentonville in Northwest Arkansas, where you get more of what you want and less of what you don't. And also visit bentonvillebeacon.com to see all of our episodes, or of course, check them out on your favorite podcast players, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks. We'll see you next time.